All right. I told 9 a.m. I would take 5 minutes, and this took me like 20, so I better get started. So anyone who asks me for help with nutrition, I'm basically going to take you through how I would help them. So the case study is MJ. If you're really perceptive and you know our members, you probably can guess who that is, but it's one of our members in the morning. Comes with his wife. There's that. He asked me to help him with increasing his lean body mass, so more muscle, decrease his body fat, lose fat, and try to increase his performance. So inevitably, if you come see me with those goals in mind, or just health goals in mind, they're pretty much universal. I look at health and fitness as a spectrum on the same thing. Health is just longevity in your fitness. So I worked with MJ, I'll probably say his name at some point, I'll try not to, on these goals. And the very first place I start with anybody when they ask me about nutrition is I say, well, how do you eat? And usually I get, good. And I'm like, cool, that means fuck all. I eat salad. Congrats. Tell me what you eat. And it usually ends up a conversation like, hey, do me a favor. For the next 3 to 5 days, either write down or take a picture of everything you eat so that we can look at that together and get an idea of where you're at. So they do that. We look at the diet. Typically what I see is something closer to what's called the Standard American Diet, which has a hilarious acronym. The Standard American Diet acronym is SAD. Now, our food is made up of 3 main macronutrients: carbs, fat, and protein. So typically when it comes to a diet prescription, it centers around how much of these 3 macronutrients. So we're gonna go carb as CHO, because carbs are made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and it's a shorthand for carbs, 2 less letters. Fat and protein. The Standard American Diet for carbs on the low end is about 55%. Anyone care to guess what the high end might be? What was it? Yeah, you're damn right, Dave, 80%. That means fucking 80% of their diet comes with a bag, a box, or a barcode. It's not vegetables, it's not fruit, it's not frozen peas, it's Hungry Man dinners. Bullshit. Now fat and protein, they naturally make up the other bit of the diet. And I'd say for both of them, they're hovering somewhere between 10 and 20%. Now, if you eat closer to 20% protein, you probably eat closer to 10% fat. I know the math's probably not perfect there, but the idea here is the bulk of the diet is carbohydrate. Now, the problem with that is that carbohydrate does something very specific to you health-wise. When you eat an excess of carbohydrate, specifically the processed style that's higher in glycemic index, it causes your insulin to rise as a result of the blood sugar. Because sugar in your blood is poison. Your body does not want excess sugar in it. So it releases a hormone called insulin. Insulin tells that sugar to go into our cells. So as a result, we eat our diet, our insulin raises, that sugar goes out of our bloodstream and into our cells. As soon as it goes into our cells, it comes down out of our bloodstream, our blood sugar drops, and what happens when we get low blood sugar? Anybody know? What? Yeah, dizzy's one of them for sure. Tired, irritable, hungry, cranky. Anybody on a diet knows what it's like to ride a blood sugar wave. I'm doing so good. Oh my God, I would kill you to eat you right now. Right? But it's usually like, I'll kill you and go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a giant donut. So the problem with this is when we eat a diet that's high in carbohydrate, we're naturally elevating our insulin. Insulin tells your body to turn off fat burning. So if you're chronically elevating your blood sugar, you're telling your body, don't burn this, feed me. And the more you feed yourself carbohydrate, the less well you can do when it comes to burning fat because your insulin stays high. So everybody that's like, man, it'd be really nice to burn the fat at the gym, if you're constantly feeding yourself carbohydrate, it's not gonna happen very effectively. So when I get someone come in there, eventually we get talking about like, let's do a single thing to work on this. That one thing I give them is I would like you to eat your body weight in grams of protein per day. Some people are off of that like, ugh, gross, that's a lot of protein. So I usually give a range. I say eat between 0.7 and 1.0 grams of protein per day of body weight. And for simple math, let's just pretend I'm 200 pounds. I weigh a little bit more than that, but if I was 200 pounds, that would mean I'd eat somewhere between 140 to 200 grams of protein every day. Now, what's nice about protein, it's necessary for muscle tissue growth, repair, and it's used in basically every single cell in your body to create structure. It also is extremely satiating, makes you feel full. Think of like eating a giant plate of turkey at Thanksgiving. Usually we start with the rolls and the gravy and the other stuff that's fucking good, the carbs. But if you eat a big old plate of turkey, are you gonna go back to the well real quick? Probably not, you're gonna feel full. So the very first thing I say is, now do me a favor, try and do this. Go home for the next 2 to 4 weeks and just practice getting your protein up. And I don't want anyone to think it's a failure if you can't automatically get to 1 gram per day. It's an iterative process. Most people, when they come to me, go, oh, it turns out I was eating 17 grams of protein a day. Guess that's not enough, right? Yeah, that's not enough. That's down here again. So we start making our march up, making our march up, making our march up, and inevitably the person also starts recording other things they put in their face. So they use one of those apps like MyFitnessPal or any one of the fitness apps out there. And this person here did that for 7 days and gave me their averages. So inside of a 7-day week, they averaged 185 grams of protein, 184 grams of carbohydrate, and 90 grams of fat, which works its way out to 32% protein, 32% carbs, and 36% fat. A march in the correct direction. This person weighs about 195 pounds, so they're probably around like 0.95 grams of protein per pound of body weight. But they said, all right, I'm doing that. What's next? What is the next step in this evolution? I said, the next thing we need to be concerned about are the ratios of these two. In a very simple way of thinking about it, it's no more than excuse me, sorry, I got that backwards, excuse me. Let's try that again. Fat over your carbs. So in this person's example, they ate 90 grams of fat on average per day for 7 days, and they consumed 184 grams of carbohydrate every day for 7 days. That ratio, if anyone does quick math, works its way out to about, it's like 0.487764, whatever. What about 0.49? I told them our next iteration of this is to try to get this ratio and change it closer to 1.0, which means essentially eat the same amount of grams of carbohydrate that you are of fat. But you can work on this iteration many different ways. And I don't know how comfortable you are with fractions are, but there's a few different ways we can change this ratio. We can try to bring this number up. We could try to bring this number down, or do both. But the closer we can get to a 1-to-1 ratio, the closer we're going to be to a higher fat, moderate protein, and a lower carbohydrate diet, which is what I think supports not only their goals of lean body mass, decreased body fat percentage, but also an increase in performance, but most importantly, an increase in longevity. When we don't bombard ourselves with carbohydrate, we keep our insulin levels lower. And one of the things you'll learn about insulin if you deep dive into it is that hyperinsulinism, or constantly elevating your insulin, leads to things like dyslipidemia, which means high cholesterol, hyperinsulinemia, which is keeping your insulin chronically high, and it'll also lead to hypoglycemia because you can't keep all the sugar in your bloodstream, so your bloodstream naturally rises. More of that sugar attaches to all your cells, and they have to start pumping you with insulin to bring that number back down, aka diabetes. One of the last symptoms you're going to see is that your body can no longer retain the fat that is being created in your body inside of the cells, and that fat starts to migrate elsewhere, like to your midsection or around your visceral organs. So a whole host of chronic diseases are directly related to the amount of carbohydrate you are putting in your face. So the iteration we worked on first was, again, dial in the protein, track for a bit, monitor performance and how they're feeling and how they're looking, and then talk about the ratios of fats to carbohydrates. And what's nice about all these dietary options here is because there's many different ways to approach this diet, is that we measure, we wait, and then we measure again. And if we don't see blood markers going in the right direction, performance going in the right direction, how I look in the mirror look in the right direction, we change it. Do you guys have any questions? Yes, Savani.
I imagine as you increase the fat, it must be easier to decrease the carbohydrate.
Absolutely.
Like,
Because
in terms of feeling like
yeah, fat is satiating just like protein is, so you're less likely to go back to the well. Absolutely. It also teaches your body to metabolize fat because your body will burn what it's fed. Right. The more you feed it carbohydrate, the more it will burn carbohydrate. The more you feed it fat, the more it will burn fat. What's that look for?
I'm just thinking about this.
Share.
I eat a lot of fat, like butter,
On what?
on a vehicle.
On a car. You put butter on your car and eat your car?
No,
Tell me.
on something,
Like what?
like maybe on a bagel.
Ooh, carbohydrate. Yes.
Yeah, but you're saying if you increase your fat, you'll naturally decrease.
How do you get that fat in you? How are you going to increase your fat in you if you keep it on a bagel? What comes with it?
What if I put it on popcorn?
Maybe a little better. Maybe a little bit. I don't know the exact macronutrient breakdown of popcorn. I can't imagine there's a lot of carbohydrate in it, but I also wouldn't advocate for a popcorn diet either. But yeah, I mean, I would say like if you're going to put more fat, you know, it's things like eating avocado or putting butter on your steak or, you know, eating nuts and seeds or more dairy. Yeah, full fat everything. Yeah. Yeah, low fat's a scam. Low fat just means more sugar. So that's how you should read the label. You see low fat in the label, assume more sugar.
Until you taught me the difference, we always say low fat.
I loved your Snackwell cookies.
What?
I loved your Snackwell cookies. Kenzie, you always had in the house. Green label, Snackwell.
the like low in fat.
Yeah, they're low fat. They're maybe like Crisco or something. Yeah. Any questions?
Nobody talks about how hard it is to eat 150 grams of protein.
It is, but here it's also not, and I'll tell you how. You all have a cell phone, right? That's how you log into class. ChatGPT is an amazing resource. Hey, ChatGPT, give me 50 meal ideas that have 25 grams of protein in them. Cool. How do you cook that? Cool. I don't have that. What can I use instead? It is hard, but there's an amazing resource. It really is. Like you can literally go into ChatGPT and go, hey, I'm in a gas station. I have these 7 items. Which is the best option? Spit it out. Some of the AI is coming out where you can literally just scan with your phone and it will tell you what the best option is. So you're right, it is a hard thing, but I also don't want people to get stuck in the minutia of like, it's all or nothing. A little better is a little better. So as long as we're improving, that's great. It's funny.
If I eat chicken or steak at night, I put it in a container for the next day, thinking usually for lunch, but what I've been doing in the morning is, because I love oatmeal in the morning, I know it's probably not the best thing to have, but while I'm cooking it, I eat pieces of chicken
Great.
and steak. So it's
Probably
all-
eat less oatmeal doing that as well.
What's that?
You probably end up eating less oatmeal that way as well.
Exactly, so it's like getting protein first thing. It's been helpful for me.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I like the idea of trying to get more protein into your breakfast.
Do like a bit extra at night.
Fuck. What was that, Dave? Will you share with the class? Put it in front of the camera. Oh, strict press. Yeah, that's probably me yelling then. That's probably what that is. Anything else?
No, sir.
Cool. I recorded that if you just missed like half of that. But case study from someone at the gym. They asked for help. This is how I help them. Cool. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys next one. Where's she going next week? Greece? Lucky her. Guys, thank you.